My mother sued me for my entire $15 million inheritance, claiming she deserved it all in court. So I let her lawyer finish every argument, sat quietly through her testimony, and handed the judge a single recording that made police arrest her. Hey family, your support keeps these stories alive. Subscribe, say hi in the comments, and tell us your city or country. Let's get into today's story. I was folding my grandmother's favorite yellow quilt when the process server knocked. That quilt still smelled like her, lavender and cocoa butter, even 3 months after we buried her. My hands were shaking as I signed for the papers, though I didn't know why yet. I should have known something was coming. Mama hadn't spoken to me since the funeral, hadn't returned my calls, hadn't acknowledged the flowers I sent for her birthday. The lawsuit was 47 pages long. Plaintiff Linda Henderson seeks full recovery of the estate of Doris Jean Henderson, valued at $15 million, wrongfully obtained by defendant through undue influence, manipulation, and elder abuse. I read it 3 times before the words made sense. My own mother was suing me for Grandma Doris's entire inheritance. The grandmother who raised me when Mama was too busy chasing men and highs to remember she had a daughter. The woman who worked 2 jobs for 30 years so I could go to college. The grandmother who held my hand through my divorce and cancer scare. She was confused at the end, the complaint stated. The defendant isolated Mrs. Henderson from her family and coerced her into changing her will. I laughed, actually laughed, until tears came. Isolated? I'd lived 10 minutes away and visited every single day for 5 years. Where was Mama during Grandma's chemo appointments? During the falls, the hospital stays, the terrifying nights? I knew exactly where. The same place she'd always been, nowhere. My phone buzzed. It was my brother Mateo, Mama's golden child, who'd called me twice in 10 years. You really gonna fight her on this? His voice was cold. She's our mother. And Grandma was her mother, I said quietly. Where were you when? Don't start that saint act, Ariana. You know you manipulated Grandma. Old people, they get confused, and you were always there whispering in her ear. I hung up. My hands were trembling again, but this time with rage. Mama had always been beautiful, the kind of woman who could walk into a room and every head would turn. She'd had me at 19, treated me like a doll when people were watching and an inconvenience when they weren't. By the time I was 7, I was living with Grandma Doris permanently. Mama would show up every few months with promises and new boyfriends, take me for ice cream, then disappear again for half a year. Your mama's got a sickness, Grandma used to say, rocking me after another no-show. But it ain't your fault, baby. None of this is your fault. I was 12 when Mama stole Grandma's credit cards. 15 when she forged Grandma's signature on a loan. 18 when she showed up to my high school graduation so high she couldn't stand straight. Each time Grandma paid the debts, covered the shame, and said, "She's still my daughter." But Grandma wasn't stupid. She saw who showed up. She knew who cared. That's why she left everything to me. The attorney Mama hired was named Richard Blackwell. Expensive suit, practice smile, the kind of lawyer who makes you feel guilty just by looking at you. We met for depositions in a conference room that smelled like lemon polish and lies. Mrs. Patterson, he began, deliberately using my married name though I'd been divorced for 3 years. When did you begin isolating Mrs. Henderson from her family? I never isolated anyone. Yet your mother claims she was forbidden from visiting. My mother claims a lot of things. I kept my voice steady. Grandma's phone records and visitor logs from her assisted living facility will show exactly who visited and when. Blackwell smiled. Assisted living. Yes. Tell me, who chose that facility? Who controlled her finances? Who had power of attorney? Grandma chose me for power of attorney because I'm a financial advisor and because I was there. I managed her money responsibly. Every transaction is documented. Conveniently. He leaned forward. Isn't it true that in the final year of her life, you moved your grandmother from a comfortable independent living apartment to a nursing facility against her wishes? My throat tightened. She fell 3 times in 1 month. She had dementia. She needed round-the-clock care. Or you needed her isolated and dependent while you rewrote her will. The will wasn't rewritten. It was updated with her attorney present, her doctor present, and a full mental capacity evaluation on file. A doctor you chose. An attorney you recommended. An attorney Grandma had used for 30 years. Blackwell's smile never wavered. We'll let the jury decide. My sister Rochelle called that night. We'd been close once before Mama's poison got to her. You should just give her something, Rochelle said. You know how Mama gets. How she gets. Rochelle, she's suing me for $15 million. For money Grandma specifically left to me because she knew Mama would waste it. Grandma was old. She didn't understand. Stop. My voice cracked. Don't you dare. Grandma was sharp until the very end. You know what she said to me 2 weeks before she died? She said, make sure your Mama doesn't get her hands on this money, baby. She'll be broke in a year and you got your own babies to raise. Silence. Then, Mama's been calling me crying every night. She says you've changed. That you think you're better than us now. I think I'm tired. Tired of being the only one who showed up. Where were you during her dialysis? During the pneumonia? During the nights she didn't recognize anyone and kept calling for her own Mama? I have 3 kids and a job, Ariana. I couldn't. I have 2 kids and a job. I made time. So did Grandma when Mama couldn't be bothered to raise us. Rochelle's voice hardened. Don't make me choose sides. You already did, I whispered and hung up. I met with my attorney Pauline Arnold in her downtown office. She'd been recommended by a colleague. Tough, thorough, and expensive. I was burning through my savings for this fight, but I wouldn't let Grandma's memory be destroyed. They're going to paint you as a vulture, Pauline said bluntly. A predator who swooped in when your grandmother was vulnerable. Your mother will cry on the stand. She'll talk about being shut out from her own mother's life. Juries eat that up. But the evidence. Evidence matters less than story. They'll have your mother in her Sunday best, tears running down her face, talking about how much she loved her Mama. What do you have? The truth. Pauline sighed. The truth is you were there and she wasn't. But she'll say she wanted to be. That you prevented it. Can you prove she didn't try? I thought about the unanswered calls logged in Grandma's phone. The visitor sign-in sheets. The text messages I'd saved. Yes, I said slowly. I can prove it. Good. Because they're going to drag you through hell. Every decision you made for your grandmother will be questioned. Every dollar you spent will be scrutinized. They'll dig into your life, your divorce, your finances. Are you ready for that? I thought about Grandma's hands in mine. Her voice saying, you're the strong one, baby. You always were. I'm ready. The recordings started innocently enough. Grandma's assisted living facility had recommended I set up video monitors in her room after she kept forgetting to press her call button. I'd installed 2 cameras, one by her bed, one by the door. They were supposed to be for safety, for peace of mind. They became my evidence. I'd archived everything to cloud storage. 6 months of footage, hundreds of hours. Most of it was mundane. Nurses checking vitals, me reading to her, physical therapists helping her walk. But some of it. The first relevant clip was from 8 months before Grandma died. Mama showed up at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, first visit in 3 months. I wasn't there. I'd been at my daughter's school play. Mama, where's your checkbook? Mama's voice was syrupy sweet. I need to borrow a little something. Just $2,000. I'll pay you back. Grandma's voice was tired. Linda, I told you last time. Last time what? You got all this money sitting here and I'm about to be evicted. Your own daughter homeless. That what you want? I gave you $3,000 last month. And the month before. Ariana says. Mama's voice turned hard. Ariana's got you brainwashed, Mama. Convinced you your own daughter ain't worth nothing. When did you get so cold? The footage showed Grandma's face crumbling. I ain't cold, baby. I'm tired. Then give me the checkbook and I'll leave you alone. I watched Grandma pull her checkbook from her nightstand drawer. Watched Mama write a check for $5,000. Watched her kiss Grandma's forehead and disappear without another word. There were 17 more visits like that one. I confronted Mama before the trial against Pauline's advice. I needed to look her in the eye and understand how we got here. We met at a diner, neutral ground. She looked good, hair done, new outfit, nails freshly manicured. Grandma's money probably. You didn't have to sue me, I said without preamble. If you needed money. Need money. She laughed, loud enough that other diners looked over. Baby girl, that's my inheritance. My mama's money. You stole it. Grandma left it to me because she knew I'd use it wisely. Because I was there. You were there because you wanted something. I know how you are, Ariana. Always playing the good girl, the perfect granddaughter. Making the rest of us look bad. Making you look bad? Mama, you did that yourself. Every time you stole from her. Every time you promised to visit and never showed. Every time she cried because her daughter couldn't be bothered. Don't you dare. Her finger jabbed across the table. I had a hard life. You don't know what I've been through. I was there for what you put Grandma through. And now you want to rewrite history? Pretend you were the devoted daughter. I was devoted. I loved my mama. Then where were you? My voice broke despite myself. Where were you when she couldn't remember my name? When she fell and broke her hip? When she asked for you and I had to lie and say you were coming? Mama's eyes were cold. See, this is why she left you everything. You always knew how to make people feel guilty. How to play victim. I'm not playing anything. I'm telling the truth. Your truth. In court, we'll see what a jury thinks. She left me with the check. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Mama sat at the plaintiff's table in a dark blue dress, tissues already in hand. Mateo and Rochelle sat behind her, not looking at me. My kids weren't there. I'd kept them away from this mess. Judge Morrison was a black woman in her 60s, stern-faced and no-nonsense. I felt a tiny spark of hope seeing her. Blackwell's opening statement was theatrical. He painted Mama as a grieving daughter shut out from her dying mother by a manipulative granddaughter who'd wormed her way into an inheritance. He talked about how Grandma had always intended to split everything equally among her children. How in her final years, confused and isolated, she'd been convinced to disinherit her own daughter. Linda Henderson is not here for revenge, Blackwell said, voice heavy with emotion. She's here for justice. For the mother who can no longer speak for herself. I watched the jury. 2 women were already dabbing their eyes. Pauline's opening was different. Factual, measured. She outlined the documentation. Visitor logs, phone records, financial statements showing Mama's repeated borrowing. She talked about Grandma's mental capacity evaluations, her clear wishes, her awareness of exactly what she was doing. Doris Henderson was not confused, Pauline said. She was heartbroken. Heartbroken that her daughter valued money over relationship. But she was also hopeful. Hopeful that her granddaughter would use her legacy to build something good. That's not manipulation. That's love. The jury looked less certain now. Good. Then Mama took the stand and I watched her perform the role of a lifetime. Mama's testimony was masterful. She cried at all the right moments, laughed at the tender memories and looked at me with wounded eyes that said, "How could you?" "My Mama and I were close," she said, voice thick with emotion. "So close. We talked every week, sometimes every day. I treasured our relationship." Why? The phone records would prove it. Then about 2 years before she passed, things changed. Ariana started hovering. Every time I'd call, she'd answer Mama's phone. She'd say Mama was tired or confused or couldn't talk. She'd promise Mama would call back, but she never did. How did that make you feel? Blackwell prompted gently. Like I was losing my Mama. Like someone was stealing her from me. Mama wiped her eyes. I tried to visit, but Ariana had moved her to that place, that facility, and they had all these rules. Restricted visiting hours. You had to sign in. They'd call Ariana to approve visitors. Did the facility ever deny you access? Twice. They said Ariana had left instructions that I was disruptive. The jury shifted uncomfortably. One older woman frowned at me. "Mrs. Henderson, did you ever take money from your mother?" "She helped me out sometimes like mamas do. I was going through a hard time and she offered. She wanted to help." "Did she ever seem confused about these financial gifts?" "Never. My Mama was sharp as a tack." Mama looked directly at the jury. That's why I know she never would have left me with nothing. Someone convinced her. Someone made her believe lies about me. She wasn't looking at the jury anymore. She was looking at me. Pauline cross-examined Mama with surgical precision. Miss Henderson, you testified you talked with your mother every week. Is that correct? Yes. Your mother's phone records show 17 incoming calls from your number in the entire year before her death. That's roughly one call every 3 weeks. Can you explain the discrepancy? Mama's smile faltered. Sometimes I'd call the facility directly. Sometimes I'd use different phones. The facility has no record of calls from you to your mother's room. They must have lost them. Pauline pulled out a thick folder. These are visitor sign-in logs from the assisted living facility covering 18 months. Your name appears 6 times. Your daughter's appears 437 times. Does that seem like equal devotion to you? I couldn't visit as much. I have health problems. You were seen at a casino 3 times during this period according to security footage. Once on your mother's 83rd birthday. The courtroom went silent. Even Blackwell looked uncomfortable. I needed to decompress. Caregiving is stressful. You weren't caregiving. Ariana was. Pauline's voice was ice. Let's talk about the money. You testified your mother helped you out occasionally. How much did she give you in the final 2 years of her life? I don't remember exactly. $47,000. Documented in checks and cash withdrawals. How much did you pay back? I was going to. How much? None yet, but. No further questions. Mama stumbled off the stand, no longer crying, face flushed with anger. She looked at me and for just a moment I saw it. Not grief, not love, but pure hatred. That's when I knew we'd win. But I also knew I'd lost my mother forever. My testimony was scheduled for day 3. I'd been quiet until then, letting the evidence speak. But now it was time. Pauline walked me through everything. The daily visits, the medical decisions, the financial management. How I documented everything because I knew, I'd always known, this moment might come. Your grandmother changed her will 8 months before she died, Pauline said. Why then? Because Mama showed up one too many times asking for money. Because Grandma was tired of being an ATM. Because she wanted her legacy protected. Did she tell you this? Yes. Multiple times. With witnesses present. Blackwell's cross-examination was aggressive. He questioned my motives, my relationship with Grandma, implied I'd isolated her for financial gain. I stayed calm, answered honestly, and felt the jury warming to me. Then Pauline asked if I had anything else to present. Yes, I said quietly. One more thing. I'd debated showing the video. Pauline had said we didn't need it. We were already winning on evidence. But I needed Mama to see. Needed her to know I knew. The bailiff set up the laptop. The courtroom lights dimmed. The footage began. It was from 2 months before Grandma died. Mama's 7th visit that year. I hadn't been there. I'd been at the hospital with my son who'd had an asthma attack. Mama, you need to sign this. Mama's voice was urgent, frustrated. It's just power of attorney. So I can help you. You want power of attorney? Grandma sounded confused, frightened. But Ariana's filling your head with lies. She's stealing from you, Mama. I found proof. The video continued. Grandma's voice was small, uncertain. Ariana wouldn't steal. She would and she is. Why do you think she moved you to this place? So she could control everything. Your money, your decisions. She's probably already emptied your accounts. She shows me the statements every month. Fake statements, Mama. I've talked to lawyers. They say what she's doing is elder abuse. Financial exploitation. She could go to jail. I watched the jury watching the screen. Watched their faces change from sympathy to shock to disgust. On screen, Grandma was crying now. I don't understand. Ariana loves me. She loves your money. Look, if you sign this paper, I can protect you. I can get you out of here, back home where you belong. But you have to sign now before she comes back. I'm scared, Linda. Don't be scared. I'm your daughter. I'd never hurt you. Mama's voice was so sweet it made me sick. Just sign right here. I'll take care of everything. The camera caught it perfectly. Mama guiding Grandma's shaking hand, practically forcing the pen into her fingers. Grandma signing something she didn't understand while her daughter whispered promises. Then the door opened. I walked in, took one look at the scene and said, "What the hell are you doing?" The video showed Mama snatching the paper, shoving it into her purse. "I'm visiting my mother." That a crime? Let me see what she signed. "It's none of your business. Everything involving Grandma is my business. I have power of attorney." "Not for long," Mama hissed. Then louder, performing for anyone listening, "You've poisoned her against me. Her own daughter." The video ended with Mama storming out and me holding Grandma while she sobbed. The courtroom was silent when the lights came back on. Judge Morrison's face was stone. "Ms. Henderson," she said to Mama, "do you know what I just watched?" Mama couldn't speak. "I watched elder abuse, financial exploitation, attempted fraud." Judge Morrison looked at the bailiff. "Contact the district attorney's office. I want charges filed immediately." Everything happened fast after that. 2 police officers appeared. Mama was screaming. Blackwell was arguing about procedure. Mateo was shouting about injustice. Rochelle just sat there, tears streaming down her face. They led Mama out in handcuffs. She looked at me one last time, not with hatred now but with something worse. Betrayal. As if I'd been the one who'd failed her. The jury deliberated for 40 minutes. They ruled in my favor on all counts, awarded me attorney's fees, and the foreman actually apologized to me afterward. I should have felt victorious. Instead I felt hollow. 6 months later I sat in the lawyer's office as Mama took a plea deal. Probation, restitution, counseling. No jail time, but her name was mud. Mateo and Rochelle had stopped speaking to me entirely. My extended family took sides, most of them Mama's, because blood is blood and I'd betrayed mine. I used Grandma's money the way she'd wanted. College funds for my kids, scholarships in her name, donations to the causes she loved. I kept enough to be comfortable, to honor her memory, to prove I'd been worthy of her trust. But late at night I still heard Mama's voice. "You've always made people feel guilty. Always played victim." Maybe she was right. Maybe I should have given her something, compromised, kept the peace. Maybe winning the battle meant losing the war. Then I'd remember Grandma's hand in mine, her final words. "Don't let her make you feel guilty for being strong, baby. Some people take and take until there's nothing left. You're the one who stayed. Remember that." So I do. I remember who stayed, who cared, who loved without conditions. I remember, and I keep living, carrying Grandma's legacy forward into a future she made possible. Even if it means carrying it alone. If you've ever dealt with toxic family dynamics or had to make impossible choices between loyalty and self-preservation, drop a comment below. And if this story resonated with you, hit that subscribe button, because standing up for yourself even when it breaks your heart is always worth sharing.